But yeah, we'll see Pennek actually here because he has the route memorized. So this is a two-part elevator that goes up and down. So instead of having to, if he fucks up, then he can get back to this area quite easily. And now we're going to pick up the Somber 5. And before we get into Godskin Noble, I think we have time for a donation.
Excellent. We've got $5 coming in from the FTC that says, if you didn't beat Elden Ring blindfolded, you didn't beat the game. We've also got a $7 anonymous donation from YDP Renewed 79. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, now we're coming up to the first boss fight of the game. Very scary fight. Pennek needs to set up a very specific position and then gonna use his bow in combination with the sleeping arrows that we bought earlier. And then we're gonna see the major glitch that makes this run possible, basically. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Say
So
about
this
that?
is the pivot swap glitch, and it's incredibly powerful and also very strange. So he's gonna, after he's sleeped the boss, then he is going to basically face away from the enemy, and then he's going to sheath with the Uchikatana, and then during the pivot animation of looking at the enemy, very rapidly switch to the Reduvia weapon while holding the weapon art, and it'll get the game in a strange state where it's going to use the default weapon art, which just happens to be the weapon art of the pizza cutter, which hits rapidly over and over, and so we'll do tons of damage incredibly quickly using the Reduvia, but it's a very, very difficult trick to do.
He has about 1 minute until Godskin Noble wakes up here. Hopefully he gets it until then. It's a very precise trick to set up. Pennek is currently, yeah, he needs to face away from the enemy. I believe he's doing it a tiny bit too fast. It's a very, very particular timing here. And he needs to face away from the enemy. So it's hard to track blindfolded if you lock onto the enemy or not. And he's waking up. That is not good.
Yeah, he's...
And ouch.
Yeah, so a couple of those failed attempts was because he lost track of whether he was locked on or not, which is very difficult because there's no audio cue to know whether you're locked on or not. And so he thought he was not locked on, but he was actually locked on. But I'm not sure why a lot of them failed. He's made it as consistently as possible by actually all of the inputs he needs to do on the menu. He's bound to keys 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then he glides his finger across them to do all the inputs really quickly. And he's really, really good at it. Very consistent, more consistent than I am doing it with Vision.
100%.
But there, like, I don't know, I'm not 100% if the menu is set up wrong or not.
I believe the menu
looked
correct.
right to me.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, from what I know is that there was like a tiny pop-up. I think that comes if you do it a tiny bit too fast, maybe. What I'm worried about right now is that because of the menu mistake earlier, Pennek might think that his menu is wrong still, because like he is consistent with this trick, and to fail it so many times in a row now might throw him off that like maybe he messed up the menu earlier, like after all. So I really hope that he doesn't lose like his confidence now in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that might be running through his head is in the world record run, in one of the boss fights he lost a minute because of exactly that. He actually messed up on this. Not
He's
ideal.
not supposed to be.
See if he can back that up.
He's gonna hear the lava here, and
He'll know he's completely wrong. Yeah, but he can just kill himself with basically the dark sign and retry that. Yeah, in his world record run, he actually lost a minute to like failing the pivot swap like 7 times in a row. But actually, he had just had the wrong weapon equipped. He just didn't realize. He thought that he was doing the inputs wrong. So yeah, he might make the opposite mistake here, where he thinks his menu is wrong, but actually it's correct. So yeah, this is going to be very tricky for him.
Especially also in the marathon setting, there's like the addition of actual like nerfs because you only have this one chance here. So as I said, it's a very, very precise timing. Even the slightest bit too fast or too slow, maybe because you are excited, you're a bit nervous, you do it a bit faster than usual, that alone can be enough to change like or if it works or not. So
absolutely. And on top of all of that, we only bought 10 sleep arrows. That's the maximum we could have bought, and we used 4 of them. So this is the last attempt that he can get. He has a backup save, if we are in that situation, so we will be able to continue and showing the run, but obviously it won't be a fully legitimate run.
Yeah, especially in marathon runs, it's very, very good to have such backup saves in a run like Elden Ring, because there is so many things in the menu with the buys, with the somber stones that you can mess up eventually. And Pennek has, for every single possible mistake, a backup save. So as the viewers, you shouldn't worry. We definitely can continue this run. But yeah, let's hope that it works out. Let's not even go to this point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a good thing that we actually took the elevator down there before, because we actually needed it. And also here we do a quit out to then reset the enemy that was behind us. Yeah, going in now, it can be more scary, because now we actually need to reload in, and then the aggro of the boss will come on to us immediately. So we just have to go in and just immediately go. But nice, we got the sleep.
Counts 4 rolls, I believe, here to make sure he's right in front of the
it's
boss.
6,
Or
but yeah.
5 or 6. Okay.
Pray.
Let's pray.
You'll know
Let's
what
take
if
the
he gets
Uchi.
it. That was very close. It started to work. He's got the lock on, not correct? He needs to be facing away when he does the start of the trick.
Like, he heard it starting the first time, so he should know that the menu equip is correct. But the time is running out slowly, which is, of course, pressuring him only more, I assume. There's the last try eventually. Oh. Put out. But he doesn't have arrows, I guess, anyway.
Yeah, so
yeah.
he only has 2 arrows left.
Yeah, so I don't think I am on the wrong keyboard layout. I think that's what's wrong. I don't know if... Okay, I am on the right keyboard layout. Okay, let me just check if my keybinds work. But yeah, we will have to load a backup. Sadly, that's what we have to do. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Blindfolded is really hard, so yeah, that's just...
Can we get a round of applause for Pennek? He's doing amazing so far.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna load a save file that is right before Godskin Noble, the fight we just did, and I will just check that the save file is correct, and then I'll... Okay, yeah, it is definitely not correct. But I will just check that, and then I will go back in my cave.
So I'm actually... yeah, Pennek can hear us, we can talk.
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering why the first one cancelled. I don't think I've seen that before.
I've never seen that either.
Like,
It even did like the animation of like some strong weapon failing to hit or something.
So if I remember when I was doing this trick, it's you do the whole thing right, but you don't get back to the weapon art input in time.
Okay, yeah.
He
So-
spawned in the fight and then tried to do the pivot swap, but he had to actually sleep the boss first.
God damn it.
Yeah, so he did like, I think the mistake was he made all of the inputs, but then he didn't get back to the weapon art in time. So he started doing it, but then it just stopped because he wasn't pressing back the weapon art key quickly enough.
So yeah, Pennek is just trying now if everything with the keyboard layout, etc. is correct. If you can like get it once, potentially. Gonna sleep him, then gonna perform the glitch and the strat. So we're gonna see here. Gonna turn around, take the Uchigatana, set up everything. That was the wrong weapon.
That's not the right weapon.
Oh boy, that is bad.
No
So-
worries. We have time.
Yeah, at the very least, he knows exactly what went wrong there because he heard the Reduvia weapon art. So he knows that he tried to sheath the weapon and it's Reduvia. And he just double checked and he's like, yeah, that's the Reduvia.
Can you tap me on the shoulder if I have enough mana for sleep arrows? Okay, I do.
No.
Oh.
No,
No,
as a
okay.
no.
Yeah, if I don't have any mana, he's not gonna sleep. And
Tap
yeah,
for
sorry.
do you have enough mana buff here.
okay, yes.
I thought he said tap if I don't have enough mana. Like
Okay.
Yeah, just loading
Yeah,
in
one
the-
more try. Hopefully we get it. Yeah. Okay, again, everything should be set up correctly. We go again.
Go Pennek, exactly. There can be a lot of nerfs,
Yeah.
especially like, you know, being on stage.
yes, yes.
Very different environment. It can also even be a different like PC. That can
Yeah.
also like even throw you off. Because like
Even if it's an
yeah.
FPS difference, like if
Exactly,
the hardware
yeah.
of the PC is different, then there are many things in Elden Ring that are very FPS dependent.
exactly, your camera is FPS dependent for sure. So it can turn you in some weird direction sometimes.
So we're gonna see he's equipping the Uchigatana, and can he get it?
There we go.
There we go.
Let's go. And yeah, that was the holy grail of speedrunning, the pizza cutter technique.
We'll explain how that actually works probably the next time that we do it.
Yeah,
Here, Pennek is actually listening for the carpet because the carpet makes a different sound than what the stone flooring is making right here.
he started his camera faced very far to the left here, so he ran out of the carpet right away. I hope he heard it. He's gonna walk back now until he hits the carpet, because the grace that we want to touch is located on this carpet. Here he hears it, so he knows like he needs to find out blindfolded how the camera looks, and he's like trying to follow the carpet here.
But he also doesn't know what angle he has right
Yep.
now, because when the boss spawns, it can basically jump to the right, jump to the left, or run directly at us. So the boss has like RNG in where it's going to be positioned, and depending on what it does, Pennek always does the 6 rolls that we talked about earlier. And if you're rolling directly into another enemy, sometimes the roll can kind of go not through the enemy, but the enemy will then push you to the other side. So he could be on the left side, but he found it. Right.
There
we go.
nice.
So that's why the camera can go in like all weird directions.
Yeah, it's really strange that like, finding that grace seems like the easiest thing in the world. That is, you know, some of the hardest stuff in the run, because he has truly like so little idea of where he is after that fight. Like figuring it out without having a precise, consistent setup, it's really, really difficult.
Definitely.
Yeah, Pennek unequipping the bow because we don't need it anymore. And now we're gonna get up. The next quest is to basically get the Serpent Hunter from the Rykard fight. So to do that, we need to run across this other cliff edge that's also really scary, and there's also even enemies here that can push you off. And this turn right here can also sometimes troll you, because you need to recenter the camera, but recentering the camera and
Yes,
Was-
this is the Bridge of Doom.
Yeah.
yeah,
Pennek's called it before. It's a very, very narrow bridge with a bunch of slugs on it that can push you. And so he has a really good setup for this, but he needs to nail it exactly right to move exactly the way he should be, because otherwise he'll either get stuck on slugs or he'll walk off or whatever. So it needs to be absolutely exact.
And as you saw earlier here, he also pushed this elevator down again, so if in case he needs to reset right here, which happened, he can instantly go back to the elevator without hitting the lava every time. And that is torch/lamp, biggest enemy of the game.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey.
not outside. What?
Just gonna retry, yeah. Yeah, tiny objects like these lamps can really mess you up in blindfolded. It's a common theme in blindfolded gaming in general, in like all the games. Like the tiniest decorations that are like so useless and so unimportant in visual speedruns, for example, they are like the challenge. Like it's super funny.
So I think what happened there was that Pennek actually only rolled to the left. He didn't roll down left. And such a small little mistake, just like one roll direction, can have such a huge impact that you get stuck in a corner that you're not, where you don't want to be, and you just get stuck.
In fact, pretty much any mistake like that, like one or too many, one more, one too few, or any directional differences between any of the inputs, and it'll probably just completely mess up and I'll have to redo it. So everything has to be exactly right.
Okay, but look at this cliff side movement. It's very deliberate, the amount of dashes that he does and the amount of back hops he does to just not fall off. It's routed to perfection.
Yeah, there's a real scaling in this game. Is the more late game you get, the less railings on the side there are, and the more cliffs to fall off, and that's a big problem in blindfolded.
Yep.
So here we didn't talk about it earlier, but Pennek is actually gonna first turn in 90 degrees because you never want to turn in 180 degrees because the camera can actually, depending on which side you're turning from, when you recenter the camera basically, it doesn't go directly behind you. It always a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and that's enough to throw you off. So here, Pennek is gonna turn on camera rotation, do an attack, and that will set up the camera to be in a precise lineup in order to get over to the ladder. There's a little shortcut around the back that we can use.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The very setting I mentioned right near the beginning that lets us do the run by being able to turn it off, we actually turn it on very occasionally to get an automatic camera rotation because we're going to do a very normalized movement, usually an attack with a weapon. It moves our character a particular distance, the camera moves a particular angle, gives us a precise angle, turn the setting back off and continue.
Also look at his health. Very precisely routed here.
Yeah.
It's like 1 HP after this lava here, exactly like earlier, just using exactly the dashes that he knows that will let him survive and then heal up.
Yeah, and he needs all of his flasks here as well, all 6 of them, and that's why we needed to start with the golden seed at the beginning. So we go from 5 to 6 to be able to do this area like this.
So yeah, because we need the mana for this next section coming up here. But I think he didn't use the golden seed, but because we loaded the backup, then now we have it.
Yep.
Here,
So
Pennek is actually jumping, so he goes on the ladder, and then he tried to jump right there. And if he doesn't hear that he jumps, then he knows he's on the ladder. So that's also a way to tell where you are, because the ladder is just like out in the open. Even though it's up against the wall, for a blindfolded runner, it's just like out in the open somewhere on the edge.
That's Kyle.
Carl number
He's
6,
great.
I think. I think it's number 6.
Yeah, he's annoying. Another really good reason why we want Bloodhound Step, because it just immediately just goes, oh, I'm just going to put hitboxes everywhere, and if he gets hit, then good.
yeah, there's a room coming up now with a lot of enemies. I really like the movement in this room. It looks super smooth, and he's hopefully gonna dodge like everything at once with like lots of dashes.
Okay.
Using this door here to normalize first his position, recenter the camera at the door, and now he's gonna zoom through this room hopefully.
But I love this movement here. He's going to basically chain together different directions of the Bloodhound Step. So yeah, just watch this movement coming up here. I love those changes where you're just like going up and then up left and then up and then rolling and then you just like keep chaining them together. It just looks so wonderful.
And
Very
it works out
clean.
perfectly, get him right where he needs to be. And so, yeah, no, we've been going for an hour and 8 minutes, I think. And as I said, we've as I've mentioned, the whole reason why we're doing absolutely everything we've been doing is to get the Serpent Hunter. And finally, we're about to pick it up at the start of this Rykard fight here. Setting up so we're on the right-hand side of the fog gate, so that we end up facing a little bit to the left because you kind of walk towards the middle, and that just puts us right into the Serpent Hunter, and then we grab it, and then we say goodbye for now onto Rykard. So
That is a big,
finally got it.
relief point here. So yeah, now we have the Serpent Hunter, which is a very, very strong weapon, which we also gonna upgrade to +9, even to the highest stage. It's the weapon we're gonna use from now on. The Reduvia we actually only picked up and leveled up for Godskin Noble. We don't need it anymore. I believe Pennek will actually throw it out right now, discard it. And the Serpent Hunter has, like, the Reduvia is good because you can use the glitch, the pizza cutter glitch that we used, because of its bleed proc. It constantly procs the bleed and it does lots of damage with it. The Serpent Hunter, on the other hand, is just incredibly strong, and it has, for anyone who has played this game casually, in the fight of Rykard, you use the Serpent Hunter to do like basically a long-range attack with a special, and if you combine this long-range attack with the glitch, you basically switch from like a pizza cutter to like a machine gun, and it is extremely overpowered. We're gonna see that very soon in many bosses.
There was a little mistake there where he tried to store all of his items, but couldn't do that because he still had it equipped. But I think he figured it out. We never actually mentioned why we use the chest and store things, I think. And that's because there's actually a menu sorting, which is sort by when you acquired it. There's useful casually, you pick up a weapon, you want it to be at the top of your inventory, you sort by that. But we want to make sure we have our inventory in a very particular order, and a way we can do that is by putting them in the chest in a particular order and taking them back out, because the game considers you to have reacquired it when you take it out of the chest. And we need to do that to do the pivot swap, because we need to open our menu, and we need the 700 to be right there where it needs to be at the top of the menu. So that is why we do that.
Here you could also see him like try the weapon arts. He did one special attack with the Uchigatana and then one dash, and he knows that he did the menu correctly now, which is very good.
Exactly, and those menus can be basically detrimental to the run, because if you discarded the wrong weapon there, it's just GG. Have to load a save file. So I'm always on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
on
especially
those
when he
menus.
throws out the Reduvia. Like if he throws out the
Oh my god, is that?
So we didn't talk about that before, but yeah, wildlife in this game can just throw you off course sometimes. So there, Pennek actually might be around a second behind where he thinks he is.
Yeah, we'll see if he normalizes here at this rock. I think that is coming up.
Yeah, we'll see if he can.
And this is also a really, really long running section. I think there was the section earlier that you talked about, and there's also this section. Those two are like the longest continual running sections that we're gonna do.
Yeah, so this normalized rock should save us. So it's really good to route these into those long running sections, because if something gets sent off.
I actually believe
But
that.
wait,
I don't think.
yeah.
I
wait,
think
this
it's
is
fine.
actually not the intended
What?
place.
He's very confused. Understandably.
Oh, very
because-
understandably.
Yeah, like there were just goals in the way. Has never happened before, honestly.
Yeah, I've
so
never seen
Well,
that.
he got goaded, you know.
Yeah,
But he is also the
he is
goat.
goated,
So
so
There is I know that Penneck's talked about how there's a possibility for a squid to spawn in the way and attack him, but it's very rare. So
there's like on these rocks over here
Yeah.
around this area, I think. Yeah, a squid can also spawn in, and then if it does a jump attack towards you, it can also hit you and throw you off your horse. So yeah, this whole area is just littered with enemies, and it's like a continual running section for like around 2 minutes, I think.
that attack hit him. It did not really move him, and Pennek knows that because ranged attacks have like sometimes they can move you a bit, and the camera will change the tiniest bit. Sometimes you will just run through it because of your like poise. So I believe Pennek will just continue running here as if nothing happened. Ooh, that was the second one. That would have killed him because he's now low on the health.
it's very scary.
Yeah. Ooh, there are many arrows flying. And yeah, this
So
is
Pennek
also
running around. Here, Pennek is falling, and then he knows when he hears him fall and he lands, then he knows that like, oh, I should be in this position.
yeah, and this is also one of the longest or like longer running sections of the game. Probably one. Ooh, there was a squid attack. Ooh, another one. He's
This is
keep
the
going.
marathon luck.
Yeah, this is.
He's getting hit everywhere.
Yeah, this does not normally happen.
We're coming out on the 4 belfries here, but I think before we get to that, if you have any donations you want to read out, then now would be a good time.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I just want to bring everybody's attention to the total up on screen. We hit $45,000, everybody. And you know what that means. It means that we finally met Milestone Madness 4, so we get to see Paulister lose once again to HUD 601 tomorrow.
Let's go.
Now,
He can never win.
the next goal is $60,000 before tomorrow evening. And if we do hit that, we will put Milestone Madness 4 and 5 back to back. So we might get a 2-for-1 tomorrow if we can raise some money. One of the donations that helped us reach that goal was $10 from Trash of Plays. They say, this is one of the coolest things I have ever seen. Pennek is so awesome. Keep up the good work. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you very much. Also, I heard that pun. The best thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, if you're looking at the time and the estimate and looking at how much progress was made in the game, you might be thinking, how is he going to finish this game in time? Because, you know, normally you'd have to go kill 2 of the major bosses in the game, unlock the big city, go there, and then you would need to go kill another major boss, go through all the mountains, go kill the fire giant, blah, blah, etc. But we're actually not going to do any of that because we're going to use the 4 belfries, which is pretty much a totally optional area in the game that basically gives you access to like preview areas of other special areas. And the game actually gives you a special preview of a very late game area called Faramazula. And it puts you on like an island really far away. And you go, ooh, look at this crazy place. Maybe you'll go here one day. But we have wrong warps, and as I've mentioned, if we're in this square, we can confuse the game by teleporting and auto F4ing, and then we'll go back to the default location, which just happens to be where you go after the fire giant on the mainland, which is exactly where we want to be. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to that preview area, executing the wrong warp, and then we will skip basically maybe 80% of the entire game and be right into the late game with our Serpent Hunter, which is going to be the weapon that's going to carry us through the final boss fights.
Yeah, it skips an incredible amount of gameplay. Like, if you have played this casually, you might know that this is like basically already at the end of the game now. There are like a few bosses from here left, but yeah, we skip lots of story triggers, we skip lots of bosses that are not optional, lots of movement, lots of areas, everything here. By right here, we are in Farum Azula in this preview area. Pennek is going to quit out here again, doing the wrong warp. Again, trying to open the game while in the desktop. Love this strat, honestly, it's so cool.
Yeah, Steam, or like just Elden Ring, it takes a really long time to close down. If anyone played the game, yeah, if anyone at home, Pennek really hopes that he's not opening
Steam,
another
please.
application. But yeah, it takes so long for Elden Ring to actually close in the background. As you can see there, Steam just said like, you want to stop playing, and it just said that for like 20, 30 seconds.
There it is.
There we go, yeah.
I think Pennek forgot to press E one more. There we go.
There we go.
He thought he was in the loading screen already.
Well done, Pennek. Yeah, so we're right at the end of the game, but that is also majorly problematic because we still have base stats apart from a bit of arcane and a bit of strength. So we have base vitality, obviously, useless armor. We're getting one shot by everything here, and the enemies are really aggressive. Like, the developers really wanted this area to be like, this is the final dungeon of the game. The enemies are very brutal, very aggressive, and it makes it really difficult for us to deal with this. And so Bloodhound Step absolutely going to be coming in clutch to get through these enemies, especially this upcoming room here. But also, as you might see, it's kind of like everything is all destroyed. There's gaps, narrow walkways everywhere. Not falling off is also really difficult, and so definitely some of the absolute hardest, most punishing movement is coming up in this area.
Yeah, the platforming in this area is just really precise and really insane to pull off. There is so many of these tiny ladders, and here are these enemies, super aggro. They will attack you as soon as they see you. They have no mercy. So,
yeah. And look at that zigzag that Pennek just did right there. That's also a new strategy he's implemented because it gets you around all the small obstacles throughout the way. You could go in a corner, but then, yeah, as you say, all the enemies, they aggro onto you, and then you would either need to use like a lot of quit outs, and that would add a lot of time. So Pennek got it. That's like a really scary section with all those enemies and having to zigzag through everything.
Yeah, it's also like going into a corner and doing a slow strat is not viable. Also, going in a straight line is also not viable because if and that's where the enemies are, and if we touch an enemy, that's gonna knock us off route, and so that's no good. So that zigzag movement is just really optimal for what he's trying to do.
here's upcoming one of the hardest enemies in the game. I died to this guy 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really scary unless you just run away. Just run and don't look back, and you should be fine. Yeah, his landing is... You would think it would have this huge hitbox that would deal loads of damage, but actually, there's one time it's...
Yeah.
It's totally
Completely
fine.
safe, and Pennek actually didn't wait to hear the lightning start, and once he heard the lightning, then he started Bloodhound stepping, and it's just a strat. I don't think I've ever seen Pennek die here.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say anything, I didn't want to curse him, but
Yeah, it's...
now it worked. Nice.
And there's the next Grace, he knows he's safe, so past that section. And now upcoming, there are more difficult platforming sections, and we're also gonna come up
A lot of enemies.
Yeah, to many enemies and the infamous Godskin duo. But first, we're gonna do some other side quests, you could call it. We need to upgrade our weapons still. That's what we're gonna need to pick up here, because right here is the bell that we can use to upgrade our shop, and that upgraded shop basically gives us the Somber 7 and 8. So we're just gonna pick it up here, or fall down the edge.
Okay, that's
Also cool.
slightly too far, but that's fine. He just picked up the Grace, so should
Yeah.
be able to get it, no problem.
So that's one of the optimizations that you can do right there. You grab the Grace and then instantly try to go for the bell bearing instead of having to do a load or teleport to the Grace. So, but since we have like 0 runes and the route is planned in this way, it doesn't matter if we died right there. We're now coming out to one of the, probably the second hardest movement section in the whole run. So even though it is still pretty long, there was some longer section before, but this is just like on a whole different difficulty level. Because everything, as you said, yeah, is a crumbling land Azula, right? It's just everything is just in crumbles, it's floating small islands. So I just see all these small edges that Pennek is running on.
Also many enemies here that shoot arrows at you, that try to hit you with their spears, so they can hit you at the end of the animation of the Bloodhound step, as I said earlier. And here is a very, very narrow ridge of these crumbles that you cannot see because the screen is like right there. But if you played this casually, you might even remember these kind of bridges. They are very tiny, and to traverse them blindfolded is just really impressive to witness.
Yeah, to deal with them, we'll also use a little bit of the edge protection, which I think we saw a bit before. So anytime we do regular attacks with the axe, then we won't be able to fall off any ledges, so we can get right to the edge there.
Exactly, and there's going to come a really good point up here real soon that will actually show off the edge protection in action. So I'll point it out when it comes up. So here we're just inching ourselves forward, getting the Somber.
Number 9, I think.
Yeah, Somber 9. So now we are set up to be able to upgrade our Serpent Hunter all the way to +9.
And here's coming up the section with the edge protection. There's this Grace in front of us, and there is a ledge right here, and he keeps attacking that ledge. And these attacks do enable this ledge protection. Actually, only if there is like a deadly drop in front of that ledge, but here it is. So Pennek can use that to set up. He knows exactly how many swings he needs to do to turn the camera just slightly to the right towards the Grace. And that was beautifully executed.
Exactly. Pennek actually uses the edge protection there to even move him a little bit to the right, because you want to be in that corner so you can then jump onto the platform.
Oh, that is
so unlucky.
incredibly unlucky.
That was the end of the animation. Exactly what I said just a while ago.
Unlock, goddammit.
Yeah.
That enemy can do something like 5 or 6 attacks. Like when you do the 80% speedrun, you have to learn to deal with and like roll all the attacks. But with the Bloodhound step, there's only one attack that has any chance of hitting him, and he did that one attack and caught him right at the end of the animation, so that was super unlucky. Here we're going into the Godskin duo boss fight arena, but an interesting thing is the trigger for the boss is actually kind of positioned to the back left of the room, because that's like where the door is where you want to go. But so if you actually don't go near that door, you actually don't trigger the boss fight. So we're actually going all the way around the outside to not trigger the fight, and then we can exit out a different entrance to the boss fight to pick up this Grace, which is perfectly positioned for where we want to start the fight. And so we can safely go do our side quests, as Bubsy mentioned.
Yeah. I really would have loved to know this when I did this casually. Like, I died to this so often, and I always had to run like past these enemies there. Like this, you can just basically go back instantly.
So you might think, like, now Pennek teleported to the Rykard fight, and that's because we need some runes, because we need a lot of runes to actually upgrade our Serpent Hunter to +9. So we're going to kill this boss now.
Yeah, and we're not going to do it the intended way. We're going to be doing the pivot swap glitches before. So it's going to basically be the same as when we did the Reduvia. We switch with the Uchi, and then we'll get the Pizza Cutter, like rapid attack, but it will inherit the range of the Serpent Hunter special abilities in this fight. And so we'll have a very, very long range machine gun, basically.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to use.
I like to call it a
the fight.
machine gun sniper.
Yeah, I think that's apt.
And important to mention is here, Pennek can actually quit out. He got it here second try, but it was too late. The enemy, if he attacks Pennek, then the glitch gets deactivated and Pennek will die because he has very low health at this point. He is very underleveled. But fortunately, he is right here at the door. He can quit out and just retry. There's nothing now that can like be detrimental to the run, like the sleeping arrows.
Yeah, well, this is something that's true of the blindfolded and the with vision run is with boss fights like this, you need to get the pivot swap first try, because once you're in the pivot swap, you have very little control. and so he he can't like roll to avoid attacks or anything. So he needs to get it instantly, otherwise it's over.
So
but
Pennek
there-
does a very specific movement here. He's going forward. He's using W tech, as we call it.
The boss fight is not over yet.
It's a
Though.
two-part boss fight, so
It's a
get ready.
two-phase boss fight, so he needs to do the glitch one more time because the glitch gets reset with every cutscene. So it's not over just yet.
So here he rolls towards Rykard instantly, and that's because Rykard has some attacks that he can run through. Oh. He didn't get the pivot swap there. But yeah, Rykard has some attacks that he can run through, but it also depends on your range to Rykard. So Rykard has an instant thrust attack that he can do towards you, but by going close towards him, that attack acts like gets disabled from his arsenal.
So yeah, we're gonna try this one more time. Pennek checking again the weapon equipment. As you can see, the first time it worked. The second time it was a bit struggling again with the pivot swap. It is just a very, very precise trick. Like, I cannot overstate this. It is really, really difficult to do. And what we have not mentioned yet is how Pennek actually performs this trick, because it's like a lot of inputs at the same time. Very nice first try. And what he has done is basically he has a special keyboard for this, with like he bought extra like rounded keycaps for this. So he has mapped out every key of this glitch in 1 to 9 on the keyboard. And what he does is he does like one clean movement with the hand over all the keys, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that inputs every single perfect input to perform the glitch. And that's why it's so difficult to get the right timing, like how fast you sweep over that keyboard row. And there it is,
Nice.
first try, nice.
Yeah, and he should get it here. He's also going to be spamming the move forward, the W key, while doing the fight. Oh, that's a little bit scary, but it's good.
Very, very nice.
We did with the boss. He's going to be rapidly tapping that key because it's a very glitchy thing that we're doing here, and so every time the damage tick is like based on the animation, and so by continually stepping forward and jittering forward, it's like resetting the animation state he's in, which is re-triggering the hitbox, so he actually has higher DPS by doing that.
And why we did this whole fight is on the bottom right you can see he has now a lot of runes. He has 180,000 runes, which is enough to buy the Somber Stones that he needs to upgrade the weapon, enough to upgrade the weapon actually, because that also costs runes, and to, at the end, scale his strength levels a bit more to get even more damage. That's just to get like really overpowered to make this machine gun glitch even faster to kill bosses. And yeah, that's why we left this boss also for until now, because before, as we said, if he would have at any point died with these kind of runes after the kill, yeah, they would be gone. So he waited with this boss exactly before he has all the materials he needs, all the resources, and now he's going to upgrade everything.
Yeah, so back to EG, buying 1, 2, 3, 4. Earlier we picked up 5 and 6 in Volcano Manor, 8 and 9 in Fire Missoula, and we can go straight up to plus 9 there. So now we have an incredibly powerful weapon. When we use the chainsaw glitch especially, or the machine gun glitch, has a bunch of different names.
Yeah.
The pivot
Pizza
swap,
cutter.
Pizza cutter, call it whatever you want.
Yeah, now Pennek is going to use the last runes to just pump into strength. That's just more damage that we're going to get on the Serpent Hunter.
Yeah, the Serpent Hunter has a scaling with strength, I believe, which is like one of the best that you can get. And the more strength I know many people are often confused by these scales, but yeah, if you level up strength with the A scaling, then it's very good. And here we're upcoming to a very, very difficult fight again. The Godskin duo.
It's a bit RNG as well, and whether or not we get hit by that fireball. Oh, we didn't.
The dodge.
That's good.
And first try gets the glitch.
Yes.
Very
perfect.
nice.
Excellent.
So if you played that fight normally, you would actually remember that the Godskins, they kept respawning all the time. But their hitbox actually lingers behind when they die for a short time, like maybe 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So we can actually still hit them while they're dying. And both health bar is actually going to hit like a third enemy that's underneath the map and just deactivate it. But that's the health bar that is showing you on screen. So that's why we can still kill this boss fight, even though usually there would be more enemies.
Yeah, one thing I really like about this run is it's the only time I've ever seen a Godskin Duo one-cycled, because you need absolutely ridiculous DPS to be able to actually completely kill the boss during those couple of seconds when you can do the extra damage. So normally you're killing at least you know, 3 or 4 of the actual
Yeah.
bosses. But here we just only kill the
That's-
2 that spawn, and that's it.
Exactly, and we're getting so much safety damage throughout the run because we cannot fight them. Usually in a sided run, you would not use the time to go get upgrades, but instead just fight the extra enemies. But that would be too inconsistent this run. So we need the extra damage in order to make it safe enough to actually run.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you've got vision, you can, while doing the glitch, like, you know, use the geometry and like aim it and move left and right and try to deal with some attacks. You don't need as high a damage, but here we can't react to anything, so we just need to just obliterate the boss right away.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult movement section. Again, these enemies are very scary. There's one enemy that threw these boomerang kind of weapons that you might have seen. That one can really mess you up, so Pennek got very cleanly through here. But it's not over. There is still another path that he has to do, like a crumbled path that he has to traverse. And that is very, very difficult because, yeah, it's ledges with death left and right.
I love
So,
this enemy just doesn't spot us. Really nice. But this is also one of the areas that has gone through some iterations through the time, because this used to be a really run killer section, but Pennek has now done, like, reformed the route to be more consistent. So now he's like using the time, like, oh, you can hear when you fall, and then he's gonna do new inputs after that. So here he heard that he fell, and then he can do the next part of the movement.
it looks very good, actually. It's enter here. Yep.
Very
Very
Get
clean,
through the
very
door.
bad.
Nice.
It's not over yet, though. There's still one more part here where he needs to go through before he gets to the next grace. And there's one enemy that will see you, but usually if you're fast enough, he's not a problem. Pennek's going to try to set up his dashes here and jump over this fence right in front of him. There's the next grace. And with the dashes, he's fast enough to basically always escape this enemy. And very nicely done. Very, very clean.
Excellent.
Nice. So yeah, before we come up to the hardest movement part about the whole game, I think we have time for one donation.
That's perfect, because I have one donation to read. I've got a $5 anonymous donation that says, "Amazing run and very good commentary and clear explanations from the 3 companions and the coach." I believe that meant couch, but hey, great job.
You could be our
Thank
coach,
you.
Nordic, sorry.
So yeah, we are coming up to an even harder platforming section, unfortunately. It's just back-to-back hard here. With a big skip, actually, that is even difficult to perform visually. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to talk a bit about it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be, you could call it dragon skip because we're skipping over dragon, but we tend to call it bird skip because we're not really worried about the dragon. We're actually worried about the birds. Like, if you're familiar with dogs in the game, like, you haven't seen nothing, we've seen birds. Birds are the new dogs.
Yeah. Yep.
We do not want to go anywhere near those birds blindfolded. They are definitely hitting us, even with Bloodhound Step, and it's just going to be a complete nightmare. So here, we do a pivot swap glitch just to kill this one enemy, which I love how overpowered this is.
It's so absurdly overpowered.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
this guy has no
overpowering that
chance.
enemy.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
But it does actually have multi-use, because when we do the pivot swap, we also log on to the enemy, so that changes our camera angle to be in a different place. And then you saw Pennek actually log off before he started moving. So this camera is very precisely set up, and then he's going to turn off the camera rotation, or turn on camera rotation, and then now turn it off. So he has a very precise camera that's only looking a little bit towards the wall. And now he's basically going to walk on this small path here, and the game doesn't want you to walk here, so it's also going to try to push you off in some sections. And at the end, you have to jump over the fence, and this is like the hardest jump in the whole run.
you have to like kind of curve around that fence, and it's super, super precise, even visually. So if we can get some quiet time here until he gets this, he might fail this, hopefully not, but let's wait here until he reaches the safety ladder right after this.
Nice.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, so that is a lot more difficult than it looks. The collision really doesn't want you on there. If you walk straight up it, you'll end up getting pushed off and go all the way off. So he really needs that camera angle and the walking, so he's never walking too much into it. And so it's very particular what he has to do. And that jump there is really tricky. Like, I've failed that many times on my runs.
It also skips a big portion of Far Missoula. Like, there's a
Absolutely.
section where there's like a dragon, he shoots thunder at you, and you don't want thunder shooting at you while you're blindfolded for sure. So very, very good that this works blindfolded. It's amazing actually that this works. Like, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, there's tons of enemies as well that would be really brutal to deal with as well. And an elevator would have to get up. And an enemy can get on the elevator, and yeah, it would be bad.
I didn't say anything until now because I didn't want to jinx it, but right there you could fall off the edge and then you'd have to do everything again. So Pennek is now going to jump down to a grace, and once he gets the grace, then he knows that he's home safe and he doesn't need to do this dragon skip anymore.
Yeah, and now we actually
Yes.
Nice.
very
Let's go.
nice. He got the grace. So yeah, we are up to the end of the run slowly. Like we only have a couple of bosses left. Most of the movement is done. There's a tiny movement section still upcoming, but now it's basically gonna be kind of a boss rush. We're gonna start with Malekith. Very, very infamous boss as well for casual players. Very difficult, a two-phase fight. And especially in blindfolded case of Pennek here, this two-phase fight is a bit special because he needs to dodge an attack while setting up the pivot swap. And it's just really, really cool.
Yeah, this boss fight is going to be like a lot of the others where it's 2 phases. It kicks us out of the pivot swap during the cutscene, so we need to do it twice in a row, first try, both times. And so here he needs to get it right away, otherwise Malekith will come over and hit him.
Very good.
And he needs the DPS in order to not die from this attack that he's about to do. And now Malekith is going to come and do a scripted attack where he swipes across the floor. So Pennek's going to walk backwards to avoid that while switching his weapon back to the Uchi so he can do the glitch. And then he's going to face away, set up the glitch, execute it just like that, and then kill the
Very
boss.
good.
That's very execution heavy. You need to walk backwards, you have to get it everything first try. If you didn't get it first try, Malekith would do a second attack right after and just kill us.
Yeah, it's so many inputs at the same time. Like you need to multitask the menu, the moving, dodging the attack. It's so much to do. It's really impressive that he got this first try.
Yeah, on my 80% runs, I think that was probably the biggest reset point because you need to nail it perfectly both times. So it's super impressive that he could do it blindfolded because my consistency was just never really there with vision.
Yeah, here we are to the last real big movement section of the run. The story has progressed now to the capital of Ash. Like the capital is broken down basically. We're gonna go to the last four bosses of the run, and
I think it's 5.
Depends
Depending
how
on
you
yeah, it
count
depends
them,
on how you
really.
count it.
If you
I
count
guess.
Gideon,
Yeah.
like he just monologues at you for like
No,
10 minutes.
I was rather thinking of the end fights if you count phase 1 and 2 separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gideon is coming up. He's a good fella.
He
Yeah,
likes
so-
talking a lot at least.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the last kind of downtime parts of the run. So let's throw it over to donations here.
Yes.
All right, we've got $25 coming in from a Warrior's Kingdom. They're referencing our next run, saying, "The man, the myth, the legend. Good luck on the run, Mies. Good to see you on ESA." That went towards our Metal Gear Solid any % ending choice between saving Otakon and saving Meryl. And right now, Otakon has taken the lead by $2. $2. So you can influence this big time. You've got, a couple minutes or however many minutes left here in this run, a couple minutes in intermission, and then we're going to have to call it. So if you want to change saving Otakon or saving Meryl, get those donations in right now.
So yeah, here we are at Gideon, and he, as we said, likes to talk. He has like a 10-minute dialogue at the beginning. It's really ridiculously long. So Pennek has all the time in the world to try his glitch. It's gonna go right in front of him, and fail it once. It's okay. And this guy gets obliterated.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Insta death.
And on top of that, Gideon is really kind that he puts the Grace right on top of where you are. Because, just like the Godskin Noble fight, like, he doesn't know exactly where his camera position is potentially here because he locked on to the boss. But luckily, he doesn't need to go searching around for it because he knows it's right here. So.
Yeah, and again, Gideon drops lots of souls, so we're gonna use that to one more time upgrade our strength really high to get like this tiny bit of additional damage. Oh, Mr. Nice.
Mr. Nice, yeah.
And now upcoming is still the root of death, or however you want to call it. It's
That's a good name for it.
there's one. You see this little root there in the background on the left side. We're gonna go up there, and yeah, it's a not very kind terrain for blindfolded. You can fall off, you can slide down. It's very, very weird to traverse this. I've actually heard that you found some strat for this. That
Exactly. Pennek was routing this live on stream, so I just gave a lot of suggestions about like, oh, could we do this? Could we roll at that point? So I like to call this the cyber strat.
I also heard Pennek say that like, yeah, he helped me, but I've reiterated like it afterwards again. So he kind of wants to take it away from you, I think.
Yeah, that
It's featuring Pennek. It's a cyber strat featuring Pennek at this point. I'll give it that.
yeah, the
He made it up. We didn't jinx it.
yeah, the route is like really narrow and also kind of curves in like small angles, and we only deal with 45-degree angles here, and so like, you know, the 10-15-degree angle turns really does not gel with us.
But yeah, but coming up here to the last 4 boss fights, if you count the phases as different boss fights. I
Camera is a tiny bit turned too far to the left.
talked too
here.
early.
See if he can recover this.
He should run straight into the grace, which is like directly left of him here, if he crosses this doorway. But he's... Oh, well, that was the wrong direction to back it up, but maybe he will figure it out. I believe he can hear it on the footsteps, because he's standing on ash, which should have a different footstep sound than like the inner part of that building, which is like cobblestone. So, oh, very nice,
Okay.
very nice.
Will he hit the grace though here?
And
Nice.
Yes, he will.
perfect. Very nice.
Excellently backed up there.
So we talked a little bit about the pivot swap glitch, but just to give a little bit more context on it, how it actually works. We go in and we need to face away from the enemy. Then we need to hold the Uchi Katana down in the holster. And then while we then go into the menu and while we are turning around, we then need to swap to another weapon. That will trick the game into not knowing which stance we have to be in. So it gives us the first item in the list, which is the pizza cutter. But since we switch to the Serpent Hunter, then we get the damage and range of the Serpent Hunter.
Yeah, basically the game does not want to let you switch weapon while in attack, and he nailed it. Nice job. Let's see if he actually
Now
gets
he
the
needs to
second
do
one.
the same thing as in Malekith. He has to actually run backwards and also switch weapons and do the pivot swap. So if he switches weapons, he's going to go for an attack, but then do the pivot swap. He gets... Nice.
You see just barely enough damage before Horolu managed to hit him with an attack.
Very execution-heavy part too.
And here, dependent on how fast Pennek kills the boss with his damage, actually he can be perfectly aligned with the grace here. He's a tiny bit too far to the right, but he usually tries to back it up here with a left hop. That is not the case, unfortunately. So if he cannot find the grace, he needs to warp one more time back. But that looks good if he just walks a tiny bit further.
Nice.
Yes, very nice.
Okay, we are going into the final boss fight of the run. Again, it's another double fight. We're going to kill a boss, get a cutscene, kill a boss. Luckily, there's actually a 5-second, maybe a bit longer time after you kill the first boss where you can do whatever you want. That will let him switch his weapon back to the Uchi, so he doesn't need to do it while fighting Elden Beast. And he also gets 2 tries on the pivot swap because Elden Beast is a scripted breath attack, which gives him a good amount of time, but still, he just needs to get these pivot swaps right away. First try on Radagon is required here.
Yeah. Radagon does have an animation of looking at you, or like turning very slowly first. So you do get a little bit of time. So, nice, he got it.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Radagon.
And now he's
comes
going
the
to set it
final
up.
boss, yeah.
Exactly, now he's going to set it up, so he has the Uchi Katana ready, and he's setting up for the Elden Beast fight, which is the last boss fight of the game.
I believe he has 2 tries here, even because Elden Beast is a bit slow in the beginning. So let's see if he gets it. And that's
Nice.
should be it.
Watching the health bar? Nice.
Yes, very, very nice. Time is coming up very soon.
Gonna do the honors, Zyper,
I'll
on
hit
the
it.
right
Yeah.
time.
So time is as soon as we get warped back to like where we choose our endings. There are multiple endings in Elden Ring. In Blindfolded, we just go to the statue here in front of us and end it. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, for the fans, music. Very nice.
And when we see Elden Ring, that's when the
And
time
that's
is.
time. Cutscene started. Very, very impressive. Big, big applause.
We have the flashbang moment. I love the flashbang moment. Hello.
My God, it's so bright out here.
Really?
Welcome back to the world.
Thank you so much. Yes, I hope you enjoyed that, even though we had some trouble. But yeah, that was Elden Ring Blindfolded. Thank you so much to my commentators. I must admit, I could hear you a little bit, but I don't think I gained any significant advantage for that. Still, I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope we raised some money for charity. If you have anything you want to, any donations you want to go in before I go off?
No, just a huge thank you for
Okay.
that absolutely fantastic
Yes.
run.
Yes, thank you so much. Also, if you have anything you want to shout out, guys?
Yeah, I just have something I want you to do actually. So show your keyboard to the camera. 'Cause you didn't do it at the
Yes.
beginning. Because Pennek's keyboard is very interesting.
Can we get this up on screen somehow? I don't know.
I think it is. It is on screen. It's up there.
Okay, yeah. I have like half my keys off, just so I don't accidentally press them when I'm meant to press something else. And I can actually thank this guy on my right for that strat. So thank you very much, Babsia.
No problem, no problem.
But yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to first of all the Speed Souls community. I'm a relatively new member. Yeah, I know some of you are in here, but they have treated me very nicely and asked answered any questions I had when researching for this run. And then of course all my friends who are both here and watching from home, thank you so much for checking out this run and cheering me on. And of course my lovely commentators and the crowd for watching at home. But yeah, that has been Elden Ring Blindfolded. Back to you.
All right. Once again, give it up for Pennek and this amazing run. Thank you so very much. We're going to hop on out to an intermission, and when we come back, we are going to have Mies LWD running some Metal Gear Solid. So stick around. We'll be right back.